Hey everybody! Um, Today we're going to do update 94, and we have big news, we have bigger news, and we have some kind of sad news. But let's get on with this so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, the big news is that I'm gonna make a track plan change. Gee, what a shocker, right? Um, it's not that I'm getting tired of the trains running on the lower level. It just makes me so nervous every time they go down there. I've had a couple derailments down there, only two in the whole time it's been running, but they've been a bear to get to because I have to pull all the cars off. The space is very narrow, and it's just a pain. So I've got a couple of plans here in mind. Well, I've got one that's going to be a definite, and then I've got one that's going to be tentative. But let me turn the camera around and I'll try and explain it to you the best I can. It'll be hard to visualize, and maybe I can put a still picture up of what I have on AnyRail. But let's get started. And if you hear stuff in the background, it's because it's blowing gusts from 55 to 60 mile an hour today. So there's some clanking and banging and stuff going on outside. But anyway, let's take a look at what I have in mind. Okay, I'm not a very good multitasker, but I'll give it a shot. If we look straight down right here, you can see that this track right here is the I guess you would call it the inner main line, and it goes under this bridge. There's a turnout in it right there that takes it into the yard, or actually it's out of the yard because that one goes, if you use right hand running, it goes that way. What I'm thinking of doing is taking that turnout out, just making that a solid piece of track and bringing that track around this curve into what would be a double crossover and right down here, and then taking that track and running it all the way down to the other end where you can see it going way down there and around the loop, and really it already comes out over here to back to the main line. Okay, so that would wind up being the inner main line. Now what I'm planning on doing, instead of dropping downhill, is taking this track, paralleling that track over here, cutting out the side of this mesa a little more, coming on the outside of that, and coming into the other side of the double crossover. And then that way, the trains that are using right-hand running on the outside track over here would be in here, and they would have the opportunity to go across the double crossover, cross the double crossover, and into the yard. Okay, which they don't have now. I don't have any way to get the outside track going forward into the yard. Then from that point, from that point through the double crossover, it would take this other track, get rid of these two turnouts because I wouldn't need them. It would be the other main line going all the way down where those cars are sitting on the inside of where my wreck train is. It would go on down there, get rid of those two turnouts that you see down there, cut out the side of that hill, and that track or that dead-ended siding there would just continue on around on the outside of the other track and come in to its own main line over here. Now, you kind of have an idea what's happening here. That would basically eliminate the track going downhill, okay? Now let me go down to the other end so that you can see it a little more clearly. This would become the outer main line. This would become the inner main line. and it's already on a double crossover here. It would go around on the outside of where this outside track is, right in here somewhere. Eliminate this track downhill, come around here, and basically hit this track, which it would be back on its own main line. Okay? So what that would mean is that everything would be above the board. And the train would pass through the far side of the yard. Far side meaning back there by the city. The only thing that does really, and like I say, I haven't had any trouble with the track underneath. It's just that if I'm using a non-sound locomotive, I never know where it is down there. And I've actually had trouble with the cleaning car down there because I'm usually pushing it, and it'll hit something and derail, and then I've got to fish it out from there. And I have had one train fall on the floor down there early on, very early on, and it hit a wire down there that was hanging down, a lighting wire. But anyways, the track down there is proven. But I'm not getting any younger, and I just don't want to go down there and fish these cars out in a limited amount of space and have to pull all these carts out. Now, these carts are easy to pull out if I have to, but it's just the thought of it. So everything in the back there would remain exactly like you see it. The only change would be to the front, and you would have two tracks coming around on the outside of where that switcher's sitting and tying back into the main line here. Now, the other thing you may ask is, if a train is coming out over here, depending on which track it is, how does it get back to its correct track? Because, let me see here. This is the right-hand running track. So if it's coming out over here, it would be able to get on its own track. But just as an option, we would go beyond this turnout, which takes the other trains into this end of the yard. Take these two turnouts, move them back to about here, which is where they originally were, and put a double crossover right in here so that trains can change from track to track depending on which way they're going and go into the yard in the direction that they want to go. So basically, putting the double crossover here would be like putting the double crossover that I'm going to put down there where that double track stuff is sitting way over there. It's just further away from the other double crossover that's behind the cabooses over there. That would just shorten up these tracks right here a little bit, which would force me to shorten up my trains a little bit. But the yard would already, if I start using the yard to pass through, and if I intend on going in and out of the yard, I can't have the trains this long anyway. So I would be reducing probably the length of my normal trains. There could be other trains out there. There could be longer trains out there. But it wouldn't short it up, but the length of a double crossover. So basically the double crossover would start right here. And it would probably go to about here. And so this end of this turnout would be right about here, which means the end of the turnout would be somewhere up in here. So I would lose about 4 or 5 car lengths of track on these sidings that go up the hill here. It'd be a very simple thing to do. The tracks are already in place through the yard. The only thing it would require is just cutting back some of that scenery back there and redoing, the face of the scenery back there and getting those tracks out here and removing enough of this back down here and then doing something scenery over this. Now, there is another option, but I don't like it so much. And let me tell you what that is. Okay. You can see that curve right there, that foam curve. if I came straight off of that and came straight here where I'm moving the camera right now, I could put 2-inch foam above, well, I could put 2-inch foam. Hang on a minute, let me change, I'm on the floor here. Let me change hands. I could take 2-inch foam, and it would be at this level. That's where that level is, right back there. And I could put foam on there, and I could cut that foam to come right down through here, because it's all sitting on 2-inch foam already, okay? And obviously, I could put it as wide as I wanted it. You can't really see it too well here, but I could go down through here. There's a piece of it. There's some more of it down there. If I put 2-inch foam there, I could come off of the loop that's way down there, where the wood underneath is painted down there. Come off there. I could come straight down here. I could take the fascia off, cut a slot all the way down in the fascia, and I could put, I got to get back up. Hang on. If you could picture this at about the level of these holes right here, because if I put my finger up there to my knuckle right there, that is, the foam is up about that high, which means that the lower level foam would be down in here somewhere. But I could cut a slot in here. Now I've got ribs here that hold this up, and that's the way it would have to be. But I could cut a slot all the way down here in the fascia, all the way down there. And I could turn that into about a 3-track staging yard. And I could put that staging yard right up against the edge. Well, I could put it within 2 inches of the edge of the layout, simply because of these stringers that go up and down right here. I would have to go around those, but it could be done. It could be done. The only thing that would mean is most of the double track would remain down there, but one of those tracks would not be used. It would be the outer track that would be used, and what I could do is hang on a minute, let me get back up here. Where I make the outside track over there come off and go around here, make that a turnout. Remove this track where it can be seen. This one track would simply still go down the hill, go all the way around, and come up as the outside track of the double track over there and tie into where the main line comes out from where it will pass through the yard. Now, I hope that makes some sense. However, the only problem with that is I only have 2 inches of clearance in between there to set up trains on. And I'm not sure I can do that. However, I could possibly thin the upper foam and give myself another inch. So I could probably have 3 inches of clearance there. And I don't know whether I'd set the trains up there or set them up above board and then just take them down there. But to store trains like my unit coal train and my unit Swift reefer train, I could leave down there. I could leave trains in either direction down there, just so that they don't have to be pulled off the layout and reset up. But I don't know if that's worth the effort. And it wouldn't require a whole lot of work because I can remove all of this fascia to work here. I've had it off before. Take it off right there. Take it off right over there. Take this piece off, and I would just have to disconnect the boxes, the remodel boxes here, and I would have to take the 2 pilot lights out, but I could remove this piece all the way around to wherever it goes. I guess it goes... Does that piece go all the way? Yeah, that piece does go all the way around. I may not have to remove it. I could probably just pull it back and work in there. So I could probably leave it connected here and be able to work in there by just merely pulling this out and tying it up over here and then just ducking under it to work there. It wouldn't take a whole lot of work to do that, and the track is already down there. I would only be adding track that I could reach from the front where I can work. So let me know what you guys think about it. It would strictly be to hold trains that I had made up that I may want to bring out from time to time without having to set them up out here on the layout. Plus, it would generally free up the two middle main lines here because I wouldn't have 4 trains sitting on this track all the time. I tend to do that, and being able to enter the yard from both ends would allow me to take those trains and put them in the yard. So it would give me more opportunity. Right now I can only access the yard from one end coming from its own direction. So this would grant me access. Plus, with the reversing loop where the little locomotive is sitting right there, I could reverse a train down here, bring it out on the track, coming either direction through the double crossover, reverse its direction, and take it out on the other end. Then I have always had, hasn't been used yet, I always have this reversing circuit, which comes off this main line, and there is a double crossover right there, down around the outside, as you remember, through the tunnel portal down there, and onto and out of the reversing loop that goes under, comes down here, goes around the loop, which is located underneath the scrapyard over there, comes back on the other side of the double track, comes up through here, no, not up through there, up through here, and comes out again on the other tunnel portal that's over there. There's 2 tunnel portals over there. And then it would enter that track again right here, go along here, and exit going the opposite direction that it was and be able to stay on that track or go to the other track, depending on what you want to do. So that it would give me a way to get in and out of the yard on both ends and give me a way to reverse trains in either direction. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go inside, take a picture of the screen of the plan that I have on AnyRail, and you can decide for yourself. And then I have a picture I'm going to show you because we're going to make big changes out at the fairgrounds, to the layout at the fairgrounds. We've been there 11 years and it's getting so stagnant that we're kind of tired of, it actually. I'll try and hold the camera still, but anyway, here is the diagram of the track changed. And you can see over here, I hope this works, you can see over here that we don't have track going down under anymore. And you see that you see the double crossover, you see the 2 main lines going through the back side of the yard, going all the way around back to here. You see the double crossover put in here, and you see these 2 turnouts moved up to here. Now, this configuration over here is not as it is now, right now, but it's close. But you can see how that would work now. So this double crossover, if you were going either way, you could use this double track to get to either track if you were coming out of the yard. But anyway, that's the simplified track diagram. It cuts my yard down to only 4 tracks, which is not really a big deal because I don't do a lot of switching. It's just a place to store trains or store cars. The locomotives can be backed into the engine facility until I need them, then brought out whenever I finish that. And the branch line still comes out and continues where it is. Now, that's not exactly right either, because this has never been updated. But you get the idea. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this out. And this would essentially be what the underside would look like, okay? I've simplified it down to a single track, but the double track will stay under there. Just one track will be used. But all but from here to here, well, right there, that's all the track that's already there, okay? All I would have to create would be this track along here, connecting over to here, as close to the fascia as I can possibly get. This is also not correct because this has been actually brought out like this for the town. So that means that I could probably widen or lengthen these tracks down here. But that would remain to be seen. They'd only be as long as I could make them be. And as many of them as I thought I could get in there and still be able to reach it. Not a problem. But now let me move this over and kind of overlay it over here so you can kind of get an idea with what's existing, where this would be located. Right about there, a little bit closer to the fascia. But now you can see how putting a number 6 over here at the far side, on the far right-hand side, I could get to that outer track, go around underneath, hit the staging yard, continue on making the loop, come out and come up where it originally comes up now. Now, I don't know whether you guys think that that's a good idea or a bad idea, but I may try it. Why don't you just, I would appreciate it if you guys told me what you think about it, whether it would be a worthwhile thing, a not worthwhile thing. It wouldn't be so hard to do. It wouldn't be hard to do at all, actually, because I could reach it all. As you can see there, it's only about 5 inches. Those 3 tracks are only about 5 inches in from the fascia. So if I cut the foam, the other 2-inch foam that's on top, which is now established, up about 1 inch with an electric knife, that would give me 3 inches of clearance to get my hand in case I knocked the train off the track or whatever. But anyway, I could get to it. That's the point. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll go from there, I guess. Okay, the other news I was going to tell you is, the bad news is the truck is not sold yet. It's got 24 days, but I've had about 700 or 800 people, a little over 800 people, I think, look at it. 33 watchers. Doesn't necessarily always mean anything, but it is one of the cheapest ones out there on eBay, so we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I've got 10 or so Mustangs that I'm looking at. I've almost decided that I don't want anything but a V8. I might do a V6 in a newer model, and I've given up, I think, totally on an EcoBoost. But that being said, that's what's happening on the truck, and that's it for this video. Okay, gang, I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope the things that I've told you make sense. I just hope you liked it, and I hope you liked the game plan. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, well, I've already told you all about it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm not going to do it right now. Thanks for watching.